Yep.
I wish nothing but the best for Tyler Huntley. Every time I see him play, he just looks like a starter to me. And I
Yeah.
think on both of our top 40 lists, we had him like right there,
Right there,
like 30
right
to
there.
32.
Yeah, 30. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
This one right here is going to hurt Baltimore more than it's going to. Actually, now that I think about it, hold up. Let me backtrack what I said. I'm gonna go ahead and get into your thoughts about this. But Lamar's gonna be out for the next 2 weeks. They got some very important games coming up, starting this week with Pittsburgh, a divisional game that they're gonna need to win. But Lamar being out for the next 2 weeks, how is that going to affect the Baltimore Ravens?
I got them on upset alert this weekend. I actually do. I think Pittsburgh is going to come out. I think Pittsburgh is going to they actually play very good against the Baltimore Ravens, no matter where it's at. I think it's going to be a tough, rugged, physical game. Mm-hmm. Their offense just not as good just not as explosive. I know you got Devin Duvernay, a receiver, but you don't got you don't got too much depth at the weapon position. Yes, you got Mark Andrews, but you take him away, you don't really got nothing solid at the receiver core. I think when their offensive lineman is out, and Stanley as well. So at the end of the day, they're going to force Huntley to try to make some throws, and Huntley's just going to have to beat him with his arm. So I just don't like the Ravens offense as a whole. I think the defense is playing better. Kyle Hamilton has turned his season straight around this year. So at the end of the day, since they got Roquan Smith, the defense has been really, really good. The defense has balled out since they got him. The offense is just not has been good and explosive. They definitely need receiving help. Bateman has been out. Been out pretty much the whole season. The offense, I'm just not too comfortable with their offense. And I think those blown leads at the beginning of the season, I think that comes back to hurt them a little bit. I still think they find a way to sneak into the wild card, but I do not like the Ravens' chances. I'm not sold on the offensive side of the ball. I think they need some more receiving help. They need weapons really, really bad. And I think they take a loss today. I think they take a loss today against a tough Pittsburgh team. And the offense did not look good against the Denver Broncos. Fortunately, the defense only gave up 10 points.
So how many rushing touchdowns do you think Lamar Jackson has had this year?
I'm going to say he didn't have much, but I'm going to pick 4, at least 4.
You're very close. You're very, very, very close. The needle is going to go down, though, to -1. So he only has 3 this year, which is very uncharacteristic of, to me, of Lamar Jackson. Especially now that, he doesn't have Hollywood Brown there. That rushing game has been in shambles again this year because J.K. Dobbins has been hurt.
Yep.
He's having a tough time. But, you expect last year was his down year, but we know he got hurt, right? It was actually around this time. I think he only played 12 games. Wow. He only played 12 games again and is hurt.
Yep. They were 8-3 last year.
That's crazy. So he had it's very scary how close he was. He rushed more times last year, but he had 767 yards rushing last year. He has 764 yards and 3 touchdowns. He only had 2 last year, but he usually hovers around on average like 5 to 7 touchdowns, a season. So, but Lamar has yet to play, except for he was a starter for 16 he was dressed for 16 games, but only started 7. And then 15, 15, 12, and 12, man, so far this year. It's very, 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 very weird. And I just want to kind of get into his passing stats here. In passing, he's having a down year as far as completion percentage. He has about 60 less attempts than he does last year, so they're starting to run the ball more, but they're also their defense is trying their hardest. They're struggling in the passing game this year, and he has half the interceptions he had last year, so he cut those down, and then he has one more touchdown versus last year as his many starts. So I'm ready to see Tyler Huntley play over the next 2 weeks. Coming in for Lamar last week, I don't think he was fully expecting. I mean, you got to be ready for every rep.
Yep.
Tyler Huntley is a really good quarterback. I think he's a starting quarterback on another team. And I think these next 2 weeks are going to be what you call a showcase for what Tyler Huntley can do. I look for him to be like a hot commodity going into the off season to see if
Yep.
somebody really needs a quarterback to come in for their team. It's kind of going to be like the quarterback factor that it was in Pittsburgh or in with the Patriots, where you had Matt Castle and Jacoby Brissett and what's his name that was up there, all coming out and going to different teams.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't do well, he might circle himself back around to Baltimore in the future if he doesn't do well somewhere else. Just kind of like all those quarterbacks it usually had done, except for Jacoby Brissett. But I think Lamar Jackson being out for the next 2 weeks is not only going to showcase, Tyler Huntley, but also going to be kind of a litmus test for if John Harbaugh's really the guy.
Yep.
I mean, because this division looked like it was going to be locked up by the Ravens, the first couple of weeks of the season with, especially with the Steelers doing so bad. So, what do you think about that? As far as the division, I think the Bengals have 8 wins after it was very unlikely.
Yep.
What's Baltimore's playoff chances right now?
I think they make a wild card. And that's something I had
think
Baltimore. So? Yeah, I had Baltimore in the wild card. I had the Bengals actually win the division. I think they'll win the division probably by 1 game. I had to win the division by 1 game. And I had Baltimore in a wild card race, in the part of the wild card division. But one thing is interesting that you said about Tyler Huntley. I would really like my Texans to take a flyer on them going into an offseason. Due to the struggles of Davis Mills and Josh Allen is just a bad quarterback. He's an atrocious quarterback. Atrocious quarterback. So at the end of the day, I really like the Texans to take a flyer on him and to see how he's gonna do. So I really think he'll be good with that with this offense. I think the offense is gonna can put some tools around him. But it's up to I say we gotta just see what type of coaching we're gonna have. But I would really like the Texans to take a 1 year, probably a 1 or 2 year flyer on them. So our draft stock will switch into probably a Jalen Carter or something to beef up that defensive line. I would really that's the route I would probably go if you was to get a quarterback in the off season. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I would really like to see Tyler Huntley start for the Texans. I'll start for any team. I think he's worthy to be a starting quarterback in this league. I think he could be.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, his touchdown to interception ratio isn't the best, but he's almost 1 for 1. But the thing about Tyler Huntley is, like I said, he hasn't got like a full start where he feels like he's going to be the starter here on out. And I don't know if that's like a confidence thing, knowing that Lamar Jackson's going to come back regardless and that you're forced to be the backup.
Mm-hmm.
Things do change for players once they know that this is my team. Like Marcus Mariota. I think this is the last time you're ever going to see Marcus Mariota as a starter ever.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? I think if he continues his career, he has to be okay with being a backup. You know what I'm saying? This is not, or like Carson Wentz is another one. You got to be okay. If you want to play in this league from here on out, you have to be okay with being a starter. Tyler Huntley really can't say that about him because he's never gotten the full reins on the team. I think the Texans are a really good spot for him.
Yep.
Unless he's just okay with being a backup. Some players are just okay with that, playing the backup role. I would have liked to see before the Browns went out and got Jacoby Brissett or Deshaun Watson, to see what Tyler Huntley would have done with that team too.
Mm-hmm.
And playing in the same division. That would have been very, very interesting. But I wish nobody the best for Tyler Huntley. Every time I see him play, he just looks like a starter to me. And I think on both of our top 40 lists, we had him like right there.
Right there. Like 30 right there. 30. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. See, matter of fact, you mentioned something about Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder supposed to be getting a start. I remember saying Desmond Ridder was going to start week 10. He was going to start at least week 10. What week this is? Week 12?
Week 13.
I was 3, but okay, but I was 3. I was 3 weeks off. So, but I remember myself saying, even though I believe it was on this channel or something like that, I said he was going to start. I said he was going to start in this season. He will get a start this season.
Yeah,
we'll get a chance to play.
Yeah, facts. So, I think what we're saying here is, if Lamar is not playing, it's still an impact.